Hello and welcome to the weekly wrap-up. I'm Louise and this is Leon.
Yeah, not
Leon.
the axe. Hello. Coming up on this week's show, we ponder what could be coming up in Bethesda's E3 conference.
We get your feelings on The Division and whether it could fill that Guardian-shaped hole in your heart.
But first, Battalion 1944 might just be the World War II shooter we need.
Now, unless you're super young,
In which case, I hope this is supervised computer time.
you probably have memories of when every shooter took place in World War II and the bad guy was always Hitler. Now, these times could be coming back with Battalion 1944, a new shooter focusing its sights firmly on the old school vibe of Battlefield and Call of Duty. Think bolt-action rifles, stick grenades, and crying for mother as field medics pump morphine into the stumps where your legs used to be.
Developer Bulkhead Interactive is promising an emphasis on raw skill with no exosuits, obviously, or grinding. In fact, the whole unlock system is focused on cosmetic character stuff rather than superguns and megabombs.
Now, plenty of you like the idea, and it isn't just because of nostalgia. It's not just the fact that it's World War II, says Joshua Daniel French, but because it's bare-bones multiplayer a lot of us grew up on and miss. Modern shooters are full of too much fluff when it comes to PvP.
It's that fluff that Alistair Taylor is looking forward to ditching. No wall running, exos, invisibility, overpowered streaks, and magic targeting sites? Count me in. While Dustin Ackley says that he needs things to go back to basics. I don't need upgrades, I just need skill and teamwork.
Battalion 1944 is currently on Kickstarter, where it's almost already funded after a couple of days. It will be coming to PS4 and Xbox One when it's released, although there's no date just yet.
Now, don't forget, if you have any thoughts on this or anything else in this week's show, you can get in touch via Twitter at Leon Hurley,
At Shiny_Demon, and even at GamesRadar. In other news, Nintendo has announced its new Miitomo mobile app will be out in March, and the next game will feature a best-known character.
NBA 2K is being sued for a massive $1.1 million for featuring 8 players' copyrighted tattoo designs.
And LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens is coming to consoles and PC on June the 28th, and it's predictably ridiculously cute.
Bethesda has dropped an atomic bomb on E3, announcing another conference for this year. Now that's significant because the publisher previously said it wasn't planning one every year. Last year's was simply because it had plenty to show off, and at the time PR boss Pete Hines said, if we have this lineup and we feel good about it, we need to do it in a way that everyone can see.
So that suggests that this year they have a lineup that they feel good about again. But what? Now Fallout 4 DLC seems an obvious choice, but it does seem unlikely that we'll have to wait until June to hear about that.
God, I hope not.
Which leaves what? Dishonored 2 and the grown-up Emily Caldwin is clearly a front freerunner.
But what about other stuff? A lot of people are still wondering about an Elder Scrolls game, but it seems way too soon after Fallout 4, especially with the studio still working on Fallout's DLC.
Which leaves us in mystery territory. Now, one game that keeps getting whispered is... Whispered.
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 Saying it funny.
No, I'm just saying whispered.
Say Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Say cool.
Cool
Say whip.
Whip.
Okay.
One name that keeps getting whispered is Prey 2. Now that was supposedly cancelled in 2012, but leaked emails have suggested that Dishonored studio Arcane may have taken over at some point.
Now, if you remember the press sneak fucks thing, that was Prey 2, and if you don't, well, look it up. There's also one last hope for an Evil Within follow-up.
Now, if Tango Gameworks, and I'm saying this already, decides to do anything with VR, I'm already terrified and kind of out of the game. But whatever's coming, we'll let you know as soon as we find out more. Now, are you ready to ditch Destiny for The Division? In a news poll we held after Ubisoft's beta, we asked you that simple question. Now, you can see the answers here, but surprisingly strong 64% chose The Division over Destiny.
Now, obviously the beta is fresh in people's minds, but it's clear that there's some serious discontent with Destiny's lack of content or clear future plans. Something even Bungie seemed to acknowledge in a survey that recently asked, why haven't you been playing Destiny lately?
Well, I've been busy. I've been playing Unravel. I was Hadoukening you at the Street Fighter event, and I had to feed the GamesRadar sea monkeys, and they all died. Oh, and Andy Chown explains it eloquently, saying Bungie would have no one to blame but themselves if the Division poaches players. If you trumpet about a 10-year plan, then leave players starved of content in year 2 with no real indication of what you're doing, people will move on. While Steve Rogan told me on Twitter that when it comes to Destiny, a lot of us are decamping for the Division.
But does it have to be so cut and dried? As George Potter points out, I love Destiny and I think the Division is great, but why do people act like you can only play one? It's also worth pointing out, of course, that the Division's newness is going to be all shiny and exciting after a year of Destiny not doing that much. Although, as Rick Klump told me on Twitter, there's no way that poll reflects what reality will be. People are voting against Destiny in anger.
Never vote in anger.
Or shop hungry.
Don't do that either. See you next week.
Bye-bye.